So I am starting a little bit bigger than when I first started. This is about a 6 foot, a 6 foot rack. I prefer these silver metal ones. I did have a few of the black ones. I much prefer these silver metal ones. I'll be very clear about that. I don't know what it is, but it feels way better, less cheap and sturdy. This was marked actually at $98 inside of Lowe's, but we ended up paying, I think, a total of $86. 86 or 89. It was lower than 98. So that was a good deal. I'm happy we found it on sale. But yeah, so far today, if I'm still feeling up to it after my dentist appointment today, I'm going to cut the loaves that I made last week finally. They are fully solidified. I don't like to cut when they're too soft. I don't have a soap cutter anymore, so I will be using a really sharp knife until I decide to invest in one of those again. But I've become really good at cutting my soap with a knife and getting it even. So yeah, these are the pineapple rose soaps that I made last year and the wild honey and turmeric soap. So I will cut these 3 today. This is my honey soap here. It's unscented. Sorry, you hear my son in the background. I have 2 of these, so I will unmold those. My coffee, clove, and orange soap. I'll probably, if I'm up to it, I'll make another batch of this today because this is wildly popular in my shop. And another honey I'll unmold. So these will be getting unmolded. I just took this out of the freezer. I made these 2 last night. This is my avocado spearmint soap. It's made with fresh avocados and clay and algae and all that good stuff. I actually got this recipe from Brambleberry. This is the only soap that I make in my shop that is not an original recipe. I did get this from Anne-Marie Brambleberry. I will link the recipe down below if I remember, but if not, you can research avocado spearmint cold pressed soap and Brambleberry should pop up. But I love this recipe. It was one of my first more intricate recipes using fruit and vegetable puree. And I've since developed another recipe, which I lost my recipe book, and that's the only recipe that I can't remember off the top of my head. Every other recipe that I have, it's locked and loaded in my head, so I can just type those out, but I don't remember my other recipe for my carrot soap, so I'll have to reformulate that and bring it back because that was also really popular, especially for psoriasis and eczema. But this was popular for a long time. I don't know how things are gonna go, so I only made a small batch. This is a 3-pound soap mold. So I'll probably make 1 or 2 more. Hello everybody, welcome back to my kitchen. Today I don't think I'll be making any soaps. I had a dentist appointment earlier this morning, so I'm going to be focusing more on unmolding everything and chopping my soaps up. I'm going to be using this knife I got for Christmas last year. I'll probably have to sharpen it. I hate to use this because I really like using this for cooking, but I haven't used it for cooking in a while, so I might use this because this is the sharpest one that I have, but I'll keep looking because I do have a nice collection of knives. I haven't invested in a soap cutter just yet. I used to have one, but I just want to see how this goes first before I do any more investments into the business. So I think I'm going to start with the first loaf that I made. I like to shave this part up that sticks out a little bit. You can see it breaks off easily. It's very thin. I like to start by getting those off. Sometimes I use my finger, sometimes I use a spoon to get an even curve, just to make sure that it stays level. And I'm gonna chop it in about 1.5 inches in thickness. As it cures over the next 6 weeks, these will shrink just a little bit. So I don't like to wrap the label around it until they are fully cured. So let's just get to shaving this all down and chopping it. So I just grabbed just a regular spoon. It's nothing fancy. And I'm just gonna shave these side pieces down that rose up over the mold just to have a nice little uniform look to the bars. Otherwise, it won't be a big deal, but they'll just kind of break off on their own during the rest of the process of wrapping and shipping and everything. But just to get it out of the way, just take a spoon to it to have everything equal thickness. And I'm on a cutting board, like a regular, nice sturdy oak cutting board. I think it's oak. And I'm not going to, sometimes I will cut off this end piece, But this time I'm just going to cut it all. And let's see if you can see. So this is the end of it. And I just like to take, it's just like making cinnamon rolls. If you're like a baker, you just kind of place thin marks to see where you might want to cut, and then you just measure against that as you go down, just to make sure you're getting even placements, somewhat even. It's not going to be perfect. This is all handmade, so my customers don't expect perfection in their sizing, but I like to get it as close as possible just for fairness and to know I'm going to get a certain amount of bars per loaf. But because that I got rid of all of my soap molds from the first go around with my business when I decided to end it, I'm using completely different soap molds. So what I found is the width of my soap is coming up less wide, but they are taller. So this is also going to help me stand this shape of soap better and see how much I can get out of it. Being that it's less wide, more tall, I usually get a dozen soaps out of one log. So we'll see how many I get now. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. So with this loaf, it looks like I'm going to get about 13 bars. So everything looks pretty even. So I'm just gonna make a straight cut with a sharp knife. This is how it looks. And this side, since it's the end, it's gonna get shaved down by my plane embeveler, which luckily I still have because I can't remember where I ordered that from. But this is the inside of the soap here. And I'm just gonna keep doing that. I'm gonna keep doing that all the way to the end of the loaf. It's the second bar. They all come out different. So sometimes when I do wholesale orders, they'll choose to order just the full loaf uncut, and then they'll chop it as they like once it gets delivered to their shop. And then other times they'll want it to be cut and labeled. I prefer people to chop it themselves just so it doesn't get damaged during shipping. So I'm going to see how it goes this time, because with the labels getting jumbled up in shipping services and sliding off and all of that, it looks a little bit messy. So unless I can find a better shipping method to ship my soaps where they stay intact once I cut them up for the customer, the wholesale client, I'll do it that way. But otherwise, they tend to opt for getting it just the full loaf. They'll cut it up as they need, and they can also chop it up as samples if they want to sell samples as well. So that is all. You see, this is all 13 bars chopped. They will be even more even once I plane and bevel them. Planing and bevel is lightly scraping the outer parts and the corners. If you so choose, it'll make the corners less sharp, and that'll make this side, after it cures, of course, you want to do that. This side will be smoother and less rough. Sometimes certain recipes can dry rough, so when you scrape that last layer off, it becomes a much smoother bar in texture. So that's what I mean when I say plane and bevel. It's just shaping the soap essentially and changing the texture so it's less rough. So I'm going to continue. I have a few more loaves to cut, and I think I don't know if I'm going to do it today, because sometimes most of the time I take a couple loaves and cut them in really, really thin pieces for samplers, because I like to offer a sampler option just in case people don't know what scent they like, which one works best for their skin, makes their skin irritated. Everybody likes different things, different ingredients. Everybody is completely different, so they can get an understanding of the company. And then a lot of my customers strictly come for my sampler, because you do get a bundle of soap for the price of one soap, and you can have a different variety all the time, and they tend to last quite a bit. So I'm not sure if I'm going to do that today, because I still have a lot of soap to make, so I can just make all bars right now and then focus on the samplers later. So I'm just going to keep on grabbing the loaves and continue cutting. So we're going to work on the second loaf. I think I'm just going to do bars, and then the next loaves that I make out of this, I'll work on my samplers when it comes to that. But these ones, strictly bars. So I got 13 bars out of this loaf as well. And oddly, this is what I mean by it's not always even when you're hand cutting. I got 2 slices that I can use for samples, so that's good as well. Okay, so next is the loaf of wild honey and turmeric soap. As you can see, it has some soda ash. It has some soda ash, which is that white on there. It's perfectly normal. Most people don't mind because they could tell it's cold pressed natural soap, and this is what happens. Some people are confused about it, so I do explain. But if you don't want all of that, all those questions, you can just steam it and get some of that soda ash out. I'm going to do the same. I'm going to do the same with this one and cut it in slices that are about an inch, inch and a half. Okay, so this one was easier to see because it has less of a design on top. So let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I got 14 out of this one, which is very interesting. No sample sizes. This is how it looks. I like the look of soda ash. I just don't like explaining it to like customers who are not familiar with it. I feel like it makes the soap look more authentic and it outlines the design that it puts on top. So I like soda ash. I have steamed the tops before to get rid of the soda ash and it just made it look kind of fake to me. So I don't really like to do that, but yeah, 13 bars of the wild honey and turmeric soap. Gonna put that on the soap rack. Yeah, cutting those soaps when I just put it on the soap rack, I noticed one was much thicker than the one that was right after it, so I could have probably evened that out a bit more, but that's okay. I can cut one of those bars very thinly and get a sample slice, so that's fine. That's how I work around my cutting mishaps. So I'm going to unmold a few. I don't think I'll cut them just yet. I like to have certain days in between so they can get to the firmness that I like. So I'm just going to unmold them today. I don't think I'm going to cut them, and then that'll be the end of this video. I don't want it to be too long, but I do want to pop on and show you guys how I go about running this soap company in my kitchen, in my apartment, and yeah, let's go ahead and unmold the rest of the soap. So this one is the honey soap. It is in bubble wrap to get that honey look to it. Let's peel that off. Smells delicious. You can smell the honey in it right now. I have wildflower honey and fresh oatmeal in here. And it just always smells so good. This is unscented, so if you do get a scent, it's just the natural ingredients. There's no essential oils, no fragrance oil in this particular one. It's just honey oatmeal with a shea butter based recipe. So yeah, I always love like unmolding this one because it just smells so good. It makes me want oatmeal cookies or something. But yeah, so we're gonna take this one out of the mold and pop it out of the silicone mold. I made this 2 days ago, so it's ready to go. I like to leave my stuff in the mold at least a couple of days, unless it's my avocado soap or like my softer recipe type of soaps that I use like fresh vegetables or whatever in there. I like to leave those in a little bit longer just so I don't risk breaking it apart as I take it out of the mold. But my shea butter recipe and harder type of soaps, 2 days is enough, and then I can gauge whether or not I want to slice that day as well. I'm not going to slice this today. I can feel on the sides that it's still kind of tacky, and I would like to have that get some airflow around it and dry out a little bit before I cut it. So I've been unmolding, and then I'll let it sit a day or two and just focus on making soap. And then I'll go ahead and slice and repeat the cycle. So there you have it. It's not soft at, well, it is kind of soft. Like if I were to press this in, it'll definitely get smushed. But yeah, this is the honey oatmeal bar. This is one of my best sellers. They like to use it for kids, babies, sensitive skin, eczema, things like that. No scent, just natural ingredients. So I like to keep this one on deck at all times. So we're gonna put this back on the soap rack, and I'll cut it in a couple of days. Okay, we have the second one. This one I tried a different design. As you can see, I did like little fork, I don't know what you call it, but like I did some fork imprints on this side, and then I put bubble wrap on this side just to play around. I played around with this design, with the design on this particular soap recipe many times. It used to be oatmeal laid on this side, then I had like zigzag with the honeycombs look. So I just like to play around. Customers don't mind, but I haven't exactly settled on what I want it to look like. I just play around with it. Like no matter what, it's the same recipe. I just try to get creative and yeah, see which one I land on. So far, I kind of just like the plain bubble wrap right across it. Sometimes the oatmeal one could look okay, but then I get scared that somehow it's gonna be moldy or something because it's, you know, it's natural food. So I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm gonna let this one dry out for a couple of days, and you can see the fork look on this one. But yeah, don't know if I really like it, but it doesn't bother me at all either. Okay, last but not least, and we're coming to the end of this video. This is my coffee scrub bar. The scent on it has coffee grounds for exfoliation, and then it smells so good. This is one of my favorite soaps. This is unisex. Men love this soap as well. It's scented with clove and orange, so it has a really nice allspice kind of a scent, very warm and comforting. And yeah, men tend to love it. I do, if you can see this, I have some essential oils that are poking out on the top, which is fine. I could get rid of those with the spoon since it's right on the spot. I mean, right on the top of it. But yeah, this is the coffee bar. I'm not going to cut this today. It firms up much quicker than my other recipes for some reason. So I could cut it today if I want, but I'd rather just wait and do everything at one time. But I will shave it down and get some of that essential oil residue off. So it looks a little bit better. I have to do a little bit more work on certain spots, but for the most part, I got some of that residual oil off of there. Okay, so to close out this video, hopefully it doesn't end up too long, but this is the avocado soap. I think I made it in the first video. I haven't uploaded anything to the channel as of today, so I'm not sure how this is gonna go, but this is the avocado soap. I usually make it in one of the Brambleberry 10-inch soap molds, but I didn't get that this time because I found a pack of 3 of these silicone lined soap molds that were 3 pounds for $20 something, and I believe the Brambleberry one is like $15 each. So I decided to try this out. This is much thinner in width than the Brambleberry one, and it's taller, so I'm excited to see how this will look once I unmold it and chop it, because I've never made it in this way. I'm used to like a fatter kind of a bar, kind of short and squat. So yeah, I pulled this out of the freezer this morning. I made 2 batches yesterday. This one goes in the freezer just because I like the look of it in the freezer rather than it fully I don't know if gellify is the word, but that's kind of what soap kind of does. So I try to hurry up and put it in the freezer as soon as I can so I can get a certain look to it. And we'll see if I achieve that. I usually do achieve it. I've made this so many times since I've been in business. I have made all of these soaps at least 1,000 or more times over. So yeah, so it's not ready at all to come out of the mold. I can already feel it. I like to leave these in the mold at least 2 days out of the freezer, 2 or 3 days depending, because I use fresh avocados in these bars. Now that I think about it, I think I was so busy making these soaps that I didn't record actually, now that I think about it, because it is so time sensitive that I could not fiddle around with the camera and wait around for somebody else to help me. Like, I had to hurry up and do it. So I don't even think I recorded it. Hopefully I can get a video if you're interested, if anybody's watching at this point, if you're interested in seeing how I make this soap. I can set up a time where I can get a video recorded. But this is the avocado spearmint soap. This is a Brambleberry recipe. This is the only recipe that I use that is not my own. I really like this for myself, and it's scented with spearmint. It's very light. I like light scents. I don't like to be super overpowered by sensory issues or anything like that. So I like my body products to be very light. I want it to smell very happy in the shower, or like people who wholesale my stuff, everybody walks in and say, oh my God, it smells so good in here. It's a very unique combination of scents that I haven't smelled in any other body care place, any kind of soap parlor, anything. I do think that my stuff altogether smells completely different than anything else. So that's not tooting my own horn. That's just facts. It really does have a unique sensory experience. It really does spark joy. So this is scented with spearmint. Do not be afraid of the spearmint. I know it sounds weird, but trust me, it works. And if you ever were contemplating shopping with me, order a soap bundle, because then you can see how everything smells together, and you can get a kind of a picture of which one you want, which one you like for your skin and your needs, and you can from there decide if you want to invest in a full bar or just keep getting the samples. A lot of people keep getting samples because it's a good value. So yeah, this is the avocado soap. I made 2 loaves so far. It uses fresh avocados and avocado butter and olive oil and all kinds of different good things. So yeah, I am going to let this continue to hang out before I cut them. I'm going to go ahead and cut these maybe in 2 days. Today is Monday. I'll probably take them out tomorrow if possible, if they want to release, and then chop on Wednesday. But I don't mind letting them sit in these molds until like Thursday, just to make sure that they come out nice. So with that, thank you guys so much for watching. If anybody is here, I haven't started the channel at the recording of this video. I've just been making the videos. I haven't exactly been editing or anything just yet, but when you see this video, I hope you enjoy it, and I will see you in the next one.